What's up, D-Gens? Again, making another car video. Mainly because this is the quickest way I can find time to make a damn video. And actually, this one is sort of important. So I had mentioned this before, attacking the board different ways and changing up approaches and things like that. And it's important. And nobody's asking. I guess I appreciate that. Everyone's been still as supportive as ever, even through these cold ass streaks. But I think it's important to keep making the videos, not just to show you how much I suck, but mainly to show you, what it's like to work through a cold streak. Because if you are a gambler, it's gonna happen. You can be one of the best in the world, and you're gonna eventually have a bad year. You're gonna have a bad streak. You're gonna have bad weeks, whatever. And so the important thing is knowing how to handle that, and that it's not just a matter of let's just double down and let's just keep trying the same old shit over and over and over again. So all of that being said, I am gonna be changing up the approach this week. Usually I've only been doing one pick. I think there was a week where I did 2 or 3, and that's pretty much it because it's been just kind of a colder week. Personally, I had already moved my unit size from 200 down to 100. It's still, again, obviously not really working. So what we're going to do is, we did have a loss already for the Thursday night game. It was over 43 was the pick, and that total was all over the place. It went from 43 to 44 and a half. Then because of the weather issue or weather notice, all these weather sleuths, right? They went in there and they pounded the under, and by the time kickoff came around, it was actually under 41. So the closing line value was there for a second, and then it wasn't. Anyways, that game went relatively to script. I mean, even with the weather, there wasn't a lot of wind. It was just rain, so I wasn't really scared off by anything. But at the end of the day, sorry if I could talk, they just didn't make the plays, right? That total was in play all the way to the last couple of seconds in that game. If you go back and you watch it, they are sitting at 15-22, which is 37, obviously. With a minute left in the game. The Panthers already had the game wrapped up, but they had to get a first down to kind of just milk the clock out. And so they're running it. There's I believe it's 3rd and 3, where Donta Foreman busted the line, and it looks like he has a chance to actually get in and score. And if he scores that touchdown, it hits the over. Before that, the Falcons had the ball. They're trying to obviously tie it up. Marcus Mariota forgets how to play football, takes a sack on 4th and 18. Just shitty play by the Falcons. If anything, that's the only thing I would say really threw it off. But the rest of that game, again, went pretty much according to plan. Just didn't hit the touchdown, the last one that we needed. So it sucks because this is the second week in a row this is happening, but I, again, think it's still the right mentality, the right thought process. It's just, if you can get every game down to a coin flip at the very end of the game, that's really, in most cases, the best you can ask for. You're really hoping that these coin flips go your way at some point. So all of that is a long-winded way to say that the approach I'm going to be taking, at least this week, and we'll see how it works out, is going to be more of a shotgun approach. So this is going to be a low-risk, high-volume approach. So, again, feel free to follow this, fade this, whatever. If anything, you may want to fade these picks. But just going through, researching, listening to different podcasts and takes and things like that, there's a couple of picks that I've found that I really, really like this week. And I'm going to jump on them. But instead of putting a full unit down or anything like that, I'm going to be putting out really 6 picks throughout the weekend. And it's going to be for let's say $25 to $50 per play. The Cowboys one is probably going to be $50. So the Cowboys play is still in play, obviously. It's Cowboys minus 4.5 at this point, so that's the play I'm going to be on. Cowboys minus 5 a couple days ago is also still obviously valid. Aside from that, though, let's go over some other ones. The Cowboys game, I already went over that one with you. The rest of these I'm just going to go through real quick because it is just kind of some edges that I found. So the first one is Seattle +3. If you haven't already heard, this game is in Germany. It's the early morning game. It's going to be like 9:30 East Coast time. Seattle's really just the better team here, at least on the eye test. The talent on the field is even better. If you look at Tampa Bay, they've had just terrible, untimely drops, from Mike Evans to Chris Godwin not knowing how to run a route anymore. Tom Brady is still Tom Brady for the most part, but he just does not get a lot of support. He's getting a lot of pressure in his face. It's just, it has not been a great year for them. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they're going to come in with DK Metcalf, hopefully healthier at this point from that knee tear or whatever the hell he has. Tyler Lockett should be able to go this week. And then Geno Smith has been doing his thing. Kenneth Walker, while he doesn't have a great success rate, which is probably the most concerning thing here, he should see at least some success, and he's probably going to get a lot of volume in this game. And so because of that, and because they're underdogs, when I don't really think that they should be underdogs here at all, if anything, I would have this game capped as a pick'em because it is a neutral field. Or if maybe Seahawks +1 if you really wanted to, give them the 1 point. But all signs to me point to the Seahawks. So I'm going to be taking Seahawks +3 on that one. I'm personally also going to be on the under on that one, under 44.5. I see this game being a lot of running from both sides of the ball. The Seahawks and the Buccaneers specifically have come out and said multiple times, multiple coaches, they want to run the ball. They want to be a run-first team. They want to use their running backs that way, and that's how they want their offense to run. So a lot of offense on that side of the ball. We already know Pete Carroll likes to run the ball. If they can get away with just using Ken Walker and a couple runs from Geno Smith the entire game, they will definitely do that. So to me, this is going to be a slow-paced game. Unlike that Carolina-Atlanta game, both of these defenses are relatively solid against the run. So while I think there's going to be a lot of running, and I'm sure there will be some successful plays here and there, I don't think it's going to be big chunk 8 to 10 yard plays like we saw with the Carolina-Atlanta game. Moving on from that, so that's 2 plays. I also like the Steelers' money line against the Saints. I'm going to give you the downside first. The trend so far this year has been bye week teams coming out of the bye week, playing at home, have not fared too well against the spread. So if you want to take that into consideration, I don't blame you. The flip side of that, though, is that Mike Tomlin off a bye is 8-0 the last 8 times they've had a bye week. So that's obviously going to counter that point. Aside from that, the Saints have just been kind of a paper tiger. If you remember, and if you've been watching these videos since the summertime, I have never once bought into the Saints. I don't believe Dennis Allen is any sort of good coach. I was shit-talking that guy before the season started. Beginning of the season had me a little concerned because he was having some success, but it's gone. I don't think he's going to see success anymore. The players they've had, they have a lot of injuries. Alvin Kamara it seems like he's still effective, but they're not using him right. Andy Dalton, I don't know what the hell secret he has over Jameis Winston, but he just has not been aggressive. He's an older quarterback. They don't use him the right way. A lot of pressure in his face. Their defensive line has not been getting the same pressure that they were previously, other than here and there, just kind of sporadically, dialing up some blitzes and things. So for that reason, I like the Steelers. The Saints also have trouble when they travel outdoors, and the Steelers are getting TJ Watt back. So TJ Watt is a huge game changer for that defense. He should be able to put a lot of pressure on Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton is one of the most susceptible quarterbacks to pressure. So I'm going to take the Steelers money line on that game. Another game that I really like, and like I said, there's actually a couple of them. Let's go ahead and go with the Lions. Let's switch that up. I'm going to go with the Browns +3.5. The Browns going up against Miami. They are going down to Miami, so that, could be an issue. 81 degrees, though. That's not crazy amounts of heat. If you live, northeast, maybe you think that's hot. That's nothing. It's really, I don't think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. It's already November. It might be a little humid, nothing that professional athletes should not be able to handle. It's not like that 110-degree weather the Bills had to go play in Miami. That being said, though, Miami, their defense has just been god-awful. I don't think they're going to stop the run attack from the Browns. I also don't think they're going to be able to stop Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has been doing a lot of work. And so while the Dolphins' offense has looked solid, Tyreek Hill's basically been unguardable, that defense has had a lot of issues. They just allowed over 30 points to the Browns. They allowed 27 points to the Lions. Both teams, I'm sorry, not to the Browns, to the Bears. Both teams are just not as good as the Browns. They don't have as good of an offensive line as the Browns. They don't have as effective a running back as Nick Chubb. Most of those teams do not have Amari Cooper, obviously, or anybody up to that caliber. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was not playing in that game, though. So a lot of this stuff just shows the Dolphins have a hard time defending. And if the Browns have their way and they're able to run, and just keep everything going with Nick Chubb, I don't see a way for the Dolphins to really counter that. That's not to say that they can't win. This could be a shootout, and this could be one of those games where Tyreek Hill goes off. But I'm going to take the value. I'm going to take the team that I believe is going to have the time of possession edge here, the team with the better offensive line, and the team really that's just on paper looks like they would be a pretty bad matchup for that Dolphins defense. So we have the Seahawks +3, Seahawks Tampa Bay under 44.5. We also have the Browns +3.5, the Cowboys -4.5, the Steelers money line. So those are going to be the extra picks for right now. There's some others out there that I think you probably have an edge with. The Jaguars +9.5 is another one. You know what? I am going to add one last play here. Let's just make it official. This is going to be the Giants -4.5. If you wanted to do the Giants-Texans over 40, I wouldn't blame you on that one either. A really cool nugget I heard this week is just that when you have two teams with over 10 days of rest, the totals go over, or they have gone over 8-0. So it's perfect streak when the totals are anywhere from 40 to 44. So I do think that that's going to happen in this game. Both of those defenses really struggle against the run. Both offenses want to run the ball. What it really comes down to for me, and the reason I'm taking the Giants -4.5, is that while the Texans have a great running back in Dameon Pierce, he's not to the caliber that Saquon is. The Giants have a better coach, and really, the Giants just have been working their magic more effectively. They've been doing what they want in pretty much every single game. And I think that Brian Daboll is going to do what he has to do to not just win this game, but eventually get the cover. And some of that I do believe is going to be the Texans probably getting down at some point and being forced to maybe play a little outside of their means. And if that's the case, give me the Giants. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be able to do anything here. While I do think Dameon Pierce is going to have some success, I think, and it's very possible, and my expectation of this game is that at some point the Giants have a lead, whether that's 7, 10, 14, something like that, where it's going to force the Texans' hand and make them play a little bit out of their comfort zone. And anytime you're going to leave it to Davis Mills in a somewhat competitive game where the defense hasn't completely taken out all of their starters, I just don't have any faith in that guy. So give me the Giants -4.5. And let's put the over on that one as well. Giants, Texans over 40. That's actually 7 plays. So like I said, high volume, low risk. If you do decide you want to take these plays, like I said, whatever your regular unit size is, if it's $100, do 25. If it's $10, do $5 or $2 or whatever. Just lower the unit size for the higher volume to kind of keep that your total risk the same. That being said, again, this is kind of an attempt to change up the approach and how we've been doing it this season. So we'll know how we do after this week. And I will give you guys some updates on the stats and data and the algorithms and all that kind of stuff starting next week. So thanks again, guys. Oh, one last thing. We are going to be looking at rest advantages as well moving forward. The Cowboys is a perfect example. Cowboys coming off a bye week. Again, off the bye week, teams at home not doing so great. Teams traveling off the bye have been doing pretty well. And on top of that, we are also going to start looking, like I said, at rest advantages. And by that, I mean teams that are coming off a bye that are playing a team that has not yet had their bye. So the Packers have been playing 10 weeks straight. It's very arduous. Obviously, it's the NFL. These guys are tired. They're banged up. They're hurt. It's very possible that Aaron Rodgers even has an injury to his thumb. All of that being said, moving forward, we're going to start looking at that even more, where we have a team that just has not had a bye yet, who's probably still playing tired, having that rest disadvantage, coming off a fresh team or playing against a fresh team. We're going to most likely, obviously, go with the fresher legs there. So, anyways, thanks again, guys, for watching the video. Try to make this one short and sweet. Y'all have a good weekend. Good luck. Fade the plays if you need to. Tell me how much money I'm making you by going against my picks. But thank you again. Have a great day.